everyone. Welcome to Your Virtual Coffee, the web show which introduces you to great local businesses in the Denver metro area. My guest today is the wonderful Selena Thiele, founder, president, and head virtual assistant for Office Mercenary Services. Selena has been a part of a professional's office for more than 15 years. From smaller family-owned businesses to larger corporations, she has filled roles in bookkeeping, administrative assistance, office management, marketing, social media, writing, graphic design, and customer service. Selena has excelled as a Jill of all trades and looks forward to putting her multifaceted skills to their optimum use and helping others grow through Office Mercenary. And with that, Selena, welcome to my show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
So it sounds like you put out a lot of fires.
Yes, that's certainly one way of putting it.
So when you're not putting out those fires for the rest of us, what do you like to do for fun?
You mean other than put out fires for myself?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Um, oh gosh, so I have two cats. I love playing with them. I I do like to get outdoors and just whether it's hiking or just kind of being in nature, that's always a pleasant experience. Um, I love books and movies and music and all this kind of stuff. And of course, one of the things that connected us together is I'm an old theater kid. I love to go see a live show when I can. It brings me so much joy just being able to be kind of a part of that energy again. So,
Well, would you expand about your theater background?
absolutely. It's you know, you always have the little kid shows when you're in grade school and that sort of thing where it's like, oh, here, you get to be Belle and it's this like 5 minute thing. And by the time I was in like sixth, seventh grade, they're like, okay, so you need to join the theater department in whatever high school you go to. Just do us all a favor and just do that. Um, so I did. The high school that I went to, immediately got involved with the theater department. I ended up both backstage and in front of the stage and doing a little bit of everything. So a little bit like my business. I was helping build sets and paint and run the back of house and then chorus and act and all this kind of stuff. And um, it was a Catholic high school, so we did some shows that make a lot of sense for a Catholic high school. Think Godspell. Godspell, JB, which is this interesting, weird little play that's kind of based on the book of Job, which is just kind of bizarre anyway, but
And a little
translating it
disturbing.
really disturbing. It is not one of these feel good shows where you're just like, oh, I'm feeling so perky afterwards. Like, no, this is heavy. Um, and then we did some stuff that was very not on Catholic high school theater brand. One of the first ones I was in was Guys and Dolls.
Oh, that's a great show.
It's a great show, but when you've got like the little hotbox girls running around and almost nothing, and
And
it's
singing
one of
Bushel and a Peck.
a bushel. I love you, a bushel and a peck, and
That's right.
it gets a little weird. I did like Little Shop of Horrors. That
Great
was
show.
Oh, that one is so much fun. And everyone was super surprised that the actual ending is not like Seymour in like this house with this white picket fence that they saw with the Rick Moranis movie. It's no, there's a bunch of zombies taking over everything. Um, so that was super duper fun. And so I did a bunch of shows in high school. I actually went to college for theater. Um, I didn't finish college, which is a different story altogether, but I got to be a part of some really interesting shows there. And then, like, I did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead at the Dairy Theater in Boulder at one point. Like, little stuff. I have a lot of friends who are still super duper involved in like acting and doing things in theater at the moment. Um, so it's nice to stay connected, even if I'm not up on stage. Someday I will consider, when I have more time and I'm done putting out well, maybe not done putting out fires, because let's face it, that is never, ever, ever going to be finished. But when the fires are mostly under control,
Or slow burn.
yeah, slow burn, control burn. Here, we know this is going to light on fire. We're doing it on purpose now. Uh, and once we get into that, then I'm certainly not going to be trying to pull a like Gwen Verdon and trying to play Roxy Hart and no longer being an ingenue. I don't I don't honestly know that I can pull that off anymore, but it'll be fun to get back up there, eventually.
I totally agree. Which leads me to another question. What do you find in your business now that you can fall back on your theater skills that you've honed over these years?
So, like, theater actually ended up being a great basis for running a business. Like, shockingly great. The ability to improv and play off of people and like work with storylines in terms of sales and developing relationships and partnerships and stuff like that has been amazingly invaluable. You'd be shocked that not a lot of people want, yes, sir, this sounds lovely. They want a personality to talk to. Um, and if you're used to kind of letting that personality just leak everywhere, uh, that puts a lot of people at ease. The other thing is, the backstage at theater, everyone's running around, everyone's doing it. It's like this controlled chaos.
Mhm.
It's a little like running a small business.
I hadn't thought about it in that perspective, but I think you're right. My takeaway from theater was, for doing theater, was public speaking, because I know that allegedly is like the number one fear that people have. But to me, it's not a fear that I have, because just getting in front of people and talking about a subject, that doesn't intimidate me. I've been on stage and sang. I've been on stage and, done things, dances and stuff like that. So for me, it helped with public speaking, because it kind of gets you out of your comfort zone, and you kind of have to try things. Would you
It,
say that?
oh, absolutely. It's one of those things that we run across all the time is if you keep your small business in this box, in this bubble, you aren't going to grow. So you constantly have to push that little bit of where's my comfort zone? Okay, let's push that a little bit. Let's expand the bubble a little bit. Let's push it. Let's push it. And that's how like you as a person, your company grows. And so if you've been in a place where the comfort zone is already like all the way over there, it makes it a lot easier to kind of pick up and run with what you have and keep pushing that as it
Oh,
comes up.
oh, wholeheartedly. So I think you kind of touched on this, but I would like to expand on this. What about running a virtual assistant company gets you excited, intrigues you?
Uh, so this is actually like a really fascinating question because initially when I went out on my own and I went into business for myself, it was just me. And I had zero intention of it ever being anything other than just me. That was not the plan. I'm like, I don't want to have to manage people. I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. And I met my business partner and she started pushing me. And I was like, you're right. You have a point. Let's expand this. So, one of the most fascinating things that I love about doing this is bringing on more people and helping push them, is getting them into a space where they're pushing their boundaries, working with clients, getting themselves at a place where they're comfortable kind of taking on more and taking on their own stuff. And that's with new VAs, that's with clients, that's with me and my business partner. It's also you're never doing the exact same thing. So in that way, it's kind of like a live theater show. Even if this is supposed to happen at this time, this is supposed to happen at this time, you have the lines, you tweak it just a little bit in order to make it fresh that time. And you're doing that a lot when you're working with clients. Yes, social media needs to have these components. but we need to add this and we need to tweak this so that it's for your company, so that it works for you, so that it works for whatever. Um, and that's really any aspect of it.
So kind of you create customized solutions.
Absolutely customized solutions that still fall into best practices that we know are what is supposed to be done, that platforms and emails and all that kind of stuff likes.
Okay. Well, speaking of those customized solutions for your clients, could you name an issue that would keep that client up at night, and how does Office Mercenary solve that issue?
The biggest thing that we hear from clients, the reason why they normally break down and they're like, I need to bring someone on, is because they're just too busy and they start panicking about getting it all done. I have 1,000 emails I haven't read. Oh God, what if I miss something big? I know I'm supposed to be doing this chunk of marketing if I want to do that. And it's been on my to-do list for 2 months. It's these things that aren't getting done. And that's the stuff that, you wake up in the middle of the night, or it's like there's always the memes and stuff about like, I can't sleep. Hey, remember that thing you did when you were 12 that was super embarrassing? For a lot of clients, it's more like, hey, did you remember to follow up with that like super big client that you were supposed to get? And that's the, oh God. So bringing in a virtual assistant to come and help you tame it. Go through emails, make sure that what you need to look at that is actually imperative for you to look at, you have a chance to look at. That stuff that's basic questions, that's spam, that's, the general notifications of 100 people decided to thumbs up that particular post that you did. You know, that's great knowledge, but yeah, let's archive that. That does not need to be in the brain space. If like social media is a big one that people like to hand off. You create the content, you've got these great ideas. Okay, cool. Have someone else do the nitty gritty stuff of like making sure it's posted on time, making sure it's actually scheduled, see what the metrics are, see how it did. Let someone else help manage that. Um, CRM work, client and customer relationship management. That kind of falls into some of the email stuff. It's, did you follow up with the person? Did they get the paperwork that they were supposed to? Did you send it and it got lost in their email and so they need to be poked? And preferably not 4 months from now.
It sounds like too that you would probably help out with the process. So first finding out what the process is now, and maybe, and where it's broken, and maybe where it can be improved. Would that be something you would work on?
Absolutely. One of the first steps that we like to do is what we call a macro map. Basically, we put together an overview of how your company flows. Where do your clients come from? What is that first introduction? What is the follow up? Okay, then the sale happens. What is the first thing that happens after the sale? What is that process from the sale to being complete? What sort of follow-ups do you have so that they are a return client or they are set up to refer you to others because obviously you did such a great job? And then we kind of combine that way like, okay, here's your areas that are just holding everything up. And then we kind of put it into, okay, what do you like doing? What did you get into business to do? Like, if you're a marketing company, okay, you probably love marketing and you maybe need a little bit of help with that, but that's not going to be the main reason why you have a VA. But you probably didn't get into it for like managing spreadsheets. Ew. That's an ew for a ton of people. Email is an ew for a ton of people. And start mapping out as like, okay, what is important and what is urgent? What do you like doing? What do you not like doing? What are you good at? What, if you're going to be honest, are you not really good at? Because there's going to be things that you love doing, but I know I'm not good at them.
That's
Ballet, not so much. Tap, fine.
No, I think that's an excellent illustration because it also points out that we're not all designed to be dancers.
We aren't all designed to be dancers. And it also ties back into this like idea that has been created that small business owners have to do everything. You have to work weekends if you're going to be successful. And if you don't work weekends, then you don't deserve to be successful. You naughty person, you. No, you deserve to have a life too. You deserve to see friends and family. And like, if you have children, I don't know, see them occasionally, go on vacations.
If you want to.
You know, if you want to, maybe you're one of those people who's like, I don't know how this happened. In which case, that's a different discussion that we cannot help you with. Uh,
Yes.
but you shouldn't have to sacrifice yourself on the altar of productivity and get everything done. It's the idea that you do not have to be everything to all people.
That's actually an excellent point of saying, you know, that feeling, because as a business, technically Sam owns our firm, but there's that feeling that you have to be proficient, if not good at everything. And for the most part, it's kind of impossible. And that's where you guys come in. That's where Office Mercenary comes in, where you guys take care of the details. Would that be accurate?
That is 100% accurate. It's for taking care of the details. We have a team. Like we're a VA company that has a team. We have multiples. We work together. You will have kind of a dedicated VA that you generally are the one talking to, but my business partner and I are still involved. The other VAs are still involved. So if you throw something at your dedicated VA that they're like, ooh, there's other people there who can be like, I know this, I got this, here, let me help.
So someone else who can pick up the ball and run with it.
Who can pick up the ball, who can run with it. And that's the other thing, like our VAs, if they need to go on vacation, our clients are never left sitting here like, well, I don't know, they're on vacation. I don't know if anything's happening this week. Someone else has stepped in and is making sure things are still running. It creates a really interesting environment, and it eliminates that need of, I have to learn how to do everything. I'm sorry, if you're a small business owner, you don't have time to take like a 4-week course on the new Facebook changes on their algorithm. Google changed their SEO again. We aren't SEO experts, but we generally know enough that we can get things started so that when you're ready for an SEO expert, we know some. Here, let's pass you off to them now. Hey, we've got like the basics of your Facebook set up. We know these changes happened. Oh, guess what? Facebook allows you to have hashtags again, but are they useful?
I like that official answer.
But for the most part, no, because Facebook crushed hashtags for so long that now that they're like, okay, you can use them again, um, people don't search that way. Now,
It's
again,
better if you do it on Instagram.
it's better if you do it on
Ooh,
Instagram.
Facebook also owns.
Facebook also owns. But then again, Facebook may change stuff again in 3 months and everything goes out the window again because that's Facebook. And there's only so much a small business owner can keep up with. Like, that's the point. You're a small business owner. You either don't have a team or you have a small team. You don't have, the team at Facebook. You don't have, Walmart or Amazon's entire like marketing team. You shouldn't have to pay for it. You aren't at that point. It would be great if you got to that point, don't get me wrong. We'd like to help you get to that point.
Well, I think a great way to sum up Office Mercenary in kind of a tagline, for lack of a better term, is that you take care of the details so that the owner doesn't have to.
Exactly. It's we've been tweaking our own tagline. We had an initial like, we do the dirty work for you, and we've been looking at that going, that sounds a little like I love micro, I love dirty jobs, like that whole kind of thing. That's the wrong feel for us. So we're movies like, let your genius shine.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
hand off the other stuff. Do what you're great at, because you are great at it. That's why you went into business. You are great at this thing. Do that and keep doing it well.
Now, Selena, let's talk about power partners. And for our audience, power partners are those businesses who target your same ideal client, but are not your competition. One example would be a realtor and a mortgage broker. They both target that potential homeowner, but they don't compete with each other. In fact, they usually wind up working together to kind of refer clients
Yeah.
back and forth. So with that being said, we need to get an idea of who your ideal client is. So who is Office Mercenary's ideal client?
Our ideal client is a solopreneur or small business owner. I know small business owner kind of has this really weird broad thing. I had to do a thing in LinkedIn the other day, and it was like a small business, 0 to 250 employees. And I'm like, that's a bit of
So
a range. Usually, when you're looking for kind of a virtual assistant, if you're looking for one or two, you usually have an in house team of under 10 people. We can absolutely work with more, but that is usually where you're starting out. If you have more than 10 people, you're probably starting to have someone who is kind of dedicated to admin tasks. Um, so, small business, like actual small business, some would consider it a micro business. Um, but really, we can handle such a broad range of companies. We do have a team that is familiar with HIPAA compliance. We've worked with mental health therapists and things like that. Uh, Real like MD doctors, that sort of thing. That's probably more of a specialty that we usually don't touch. Um, Lawyers, it very much so depends on what you're doing and you want a VA to do. Uh, Gina, I'm sure you're aware of this. Some of the practices, it's you know answering a phone, answering an email, basic stuff. Okay, maybe, but the second you get into anything remotely resembling law, no touchy.
exactly. And it's actually the same with professionals like me who are not lawyers. I always give the disclaimer that any advice I give you is based on my personal experience and should not be construed as legal advice.
Exactly.
What I
So
was actually thinking when you mentioned about law firms is the client confidentiality. Do you have non-disclosure agreements that has anyone ever asked you to sign that?
yes, we do sign non-disclosure agreements. All of our VAs are technically 1099 subcontractors, but part of their agreement with us is they will never work on a client and take that information and take it elsewhere, whether that's specific like people that the client is working with, that's taking their information, that's taking a client idea. With companies who like, oh, I have this specialized algorithm to work with LinkedIn, and we aren't going to do that.
Yeah, that
we
gets into
we
bad places.
that is bad juju. We
I think that's an official legal term.
That's an
Bad
official legal
juju.
term. When
Yes.
we're bringing people onto our team, even if they are 1099 subcontractors, we are screening them very, very thoroughly. We are doing background checks. We're interacting with them on a regular basis. So the second they start having problems, that's part of it being a team, is we're making sure we're covering for them, they're covering for us. If anything starts to go in any way, shape, or form hinky, we try to get a handle on that real fast. But like we've had really good stuff with real estate agents, actually, because there's a ton of real estate stuff that's like, yes, here's the lockbox code that you need, here's this information. Real estate investors, there's a ton of research that goes into a ton of in finding the right deal. There's a ton of research in what's around it, how much is this property worth in compared to everything around it. Research is super time consuming. And if you can put together like a basic guideline of what you're looking for, someone else can probably do it.
Because
It's not,
yeah, you could provide that research.
We can do the research based on those guidelines and go, this is what you need. You said you wanted this, and this. We found these things that fulfill those. Here's a couple notes. Um, it's going to take too much time to go through all the different like little things, but it's really kind of first and second tier VA stuff. Uh, Emails, CRM, light light bookkeeping. If you have a huge company, you need a beefier bookkeeper. You probably need one that is more of an accountant. Um,
So it sounds like some of the services that you offer are kind of like the buzzword is fractional.
it
So it
is
made me think of other, as far as power partners for you, other fractional professionals. And for our audience, the fractional term means I work for you, but I'm not your employee. I work only when you need me. And so there's
perfect.
pros and cons of that type of relationship. One of the pros is that you're not paying taxes on someone who it doesn't work for you. But fractional professionals, such as those fractional CFOs, I'm thinking anyone in that fractional space. There's fractional, chief marketing officers. There's fractional CEOs and COOs, which I know people who do both of those. And so, would that be pretty accurate?
100%. We've consistently found that companies that have gotten good with working with fractional CFOs, fractional COOs, anyone in that fractional space, they can work with a virtual assistant because a VA is essentially fractional admin. And fractional admin can mean a dozen different things. VA is such a broad term because there's ones who are just like, oh, I only do social media, or oh, I only do CRM stuff. We do this kind of broad range of first and second tier work. But any company that works with a fractional anything is going to have a really easy transition to working with a VA. So, absolutely, a power partner who works in that fractional space is great for us because even if we're starting with a client who's so tiny that, okay, yes, we're starting with their bookkeeping or we're starting with their marketing, we're starting with the stuff just to kind of get stuff set up and make sure there's something there. There is going to be a point, ideally, that the client is going to get too big for that. And it's not in our best interest to pretend like we're in that space. That doesn't serve the client well. That doesn't serve us well. It's the same thing that we're talking about to our clients. Stop trying to do everything. We aren't going to try to do everything either. We aren't going to try to be like the high end CPA because that's not who we are. But that means we can refer you to, hey, you're ready for a bigger financial plan. Let's talk to a fractional CFO. You're ready for some like heavier duty marketing strategy. Let's talk to a fractional marketing. Or let's talk to like another marketing company where their whole thing is social media strategy. Let's talk to fractional HR. There's going to be a point where, yeah, well, ideally, there's a point where, yeah, you do maybe want more actual employees. If you start needing a VA for like 60 hours a week, yeah, we can split that between a couple different VAs. But there might
Ex-
be a point where you want someone dedicated and like with you all the time, and then still have the VA kind of do extra tasks.
No,
Have a fractional HR person.
I think that's great because I think you kind of hit the nail on the head as far as who those power partners are. So any of y'all out there in the marketing space, in the fractional, if you use fractional to describe your business, call Selena. Have coffee with her. I'm having coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee, but you know what I'm saying.
I don't
Have
drink
some
coffee.
kind of beverage with her and find out how they can help your clients. So with that being said, when all those fractional people are going to beat the door down to you, what is the best way for them and for business owners to reach out to you?
The best way is actually through our website, which is officemercenary.com. Some people have trouble spelling mercenary. My brain occasionally breaks on it too. Mercenary. So go to officemercenary.com. There's a bunch of places to either email or literally schedule like a 15, 30 hour minute or hour long conversation. Just get a feel for each other, see what we can do, see how we can help you, how you can help us, whether that's a power partner, whether that's a business who needs help. That's the best place because that way you get to schedule and you automatically start to talk to us. There's no, I don't know, the 12th works well for me. Well, I'm out. Oh, 12th doesn't work. Just schedule it.
I love that. Selena, any last thoughts?
My last thought for anything having to do with my business, having to do with any small business, is always set boundaries for yourself. Take care of yourself. You can't do anything with your business, with your family, with your friends, with your life if you are too burned out.
Oh,
That's where my business that's where my business ties in. That's where so many people end up having issues with their business. So
I can't even touch on that because there's so much truth in what you just said. Well, Selena, thank you so much for coming on your virtual coffee. I really appreciate it.
well, thank you so much for having me. This was so great, and I'm really excited to talk more theater stuff another time.
Audience, me too. Audience, thank you for joining us today. We could not do this show without you. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. At Your Virtual Coffee, we love business owners just like Office Mercenary does. So, entrepreneurs, let's talk. Have a great day. Your Virtual Coffee is sponsored by Ventola Law. Ventola Law, mediation and legal representation at an expert level. You can find them at ventolalaw.com. Thanks for joining me today. For more information on Your Virtual Coffee, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wait for it, our website at yourvirtualcoffee.com. Thanks again for watching and have an incredible day.